Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Girivardhari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Yasoda Nandana Brajagana Ranjana Nandana Brajagana Ranjana Yasoda Nandana Brajagana Ranjana Nandana Brajagana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Jabihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Vallabha Girivardhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jana Vallabha Yasoda Nandana Brajagana Ranjana Nandana Brajagana Ranjana Yasoda Nandana Brajagana Ranjana Nandana Brajagana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Bhagavacharya Satarya Satashi Srimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ananta Gauda Vaishnavinda Ki Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Prem Sakoshi Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasudhi Gaura Bhaktarinda Ki ISKCON founder Srila Prabhupada Ki Shri Radha Krishna Go Gopinath Shamakun Radhakun Giri Govardhan Ki Vrindavan Dham Ki Mayapur Dham Ki Navadvip Dham Ki Jamuna Mayi Ki Ganga Mayi Ki Tulsi Devi Ki Bhakta Devi Ki Shri Radha Golokananda Ki Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Gaura Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhaktarinda. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhaktarinda. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhaktarinda. Okay, so reading from Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita, or Madhya chapter 14, the performance of the Vrindavan pastimes, and we're going to start at text 104. Lord Chaitanya, it's here. This is the Vrindavan pastimes and the Rath Yatra festival and all the activities that's going on between, pulling the Jagannath to the Gandhika temple, and then we're not quite halfway through this chapter right here, so we got a lot left. We've already discussed where King Prataparuja met with Lord Chaitanya. Of course, that was described. He changed his dress into a Vaishnav dress. He dressed up as a Vaishnav, so that was discussed. And he entered the courtyard of the garden and massaged Lord Chaitanya and chanted verses from the 10th canto. So now we're at 104. For 9 continuous days, His Lordship Sri Jagannath Dev stayed at the Gandhika temple. During this time, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also stayed there and performed the pastimes with his devotees that have already been described. The garden of his pastimes was very large and was named Jagannath Vallabha. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took his rest there for 9 days. Knowing that the Hera Panchami festival was drawing near, King Prataparuja attentively talked with Kashi Mishra. Tomorrow will be the function of Hera Panchami, or Lakshmi Vijaya. Hold this festival in a way that has never been held before. Purport. The Hera Panchami festival takes place 5 days after the Rath Yatra festival. Lord Jagannath has left his wife, the goddess of fortune, and gone to Vrindavan, which is the Gandhika temple. Due to the separation from the Lord, the goddess of fortune decides to come and see the Lord at Gandhika. The coming of the goddess of fortune to Gandhika is celebrated as Hera Panchami. Sometimes this is misspelled as Hara Panchami, along with Ativadis. The word Hera means to see and refers to the goddess of fortune going to see Lord Jagannath. The word Panchami means the 5th day and is used because this takes place on the 5th day of the moon. Om Aganda Timarandasya Gananjana Shilakaya Chakshurona Tamdina Tajmai Sri Gure Namaha. So a lot of festivals we see that are typically they're categorized in such a way that they're named on a particular day. Of course, typically these are all astrological, so a particular event happens, like Ekadasi, 11th day, typically you can see these names are associated with the time of the event. So text 108. King Prataparuja said, hold this, 109. Take as many printed cloths, small bells, umbrellas, and chamras. I didn't say that. Oh, okay, it's similar to 107. King Prataparuja, hold this festival in such a gorgeous way that upon seeing it, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will be completely pleased and astonished. Take as many printed cloths, small bells, umbrellas, and chameras as there are in my storehouse and in the deity's storehouse. Collect all kinds of small and large flags and ringing bells. Then decorate the carrier and have various musical and dancing parties accompany it. In this way, decorate the carrier attractively. You should also double the quantity of prasadam. Make so much that it will even surpass the Rath Yatra festival. We know during the festival, there's a certain, we talked about how many days this takes, but there's a period of time where the cart stops, and all the residents, they've prepared prasadam, and they bring it at a particular time, at a particular location, and it's all offered to the Lord. So this is, you can imagine the amount of how big those offerings were. And we mentioned that, how typically you're going to bring your signature dish. You know, everybody has a dish that they cook that's typically better than any other dish. So they're going to fix they're going to offer this to Lord Jagannath. This happens once a year. So they're going to offer their number one dish, most favorite dish to the Lord. So here's, he wants to surpass even that. Arrange the festival in such a way that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu may freely go with his devotees to visit the deity without difficulty. In the morning, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took his personal associates with him to see Lord Jagannath at Sundarakala. Purport. Sundarakala is the Gandhika temple. The temple of Jagannath at Jagannath Puri is called Nikala, and the temple at Gandhika is called Sundarkala. Text 114. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his personal devotees returned to Nikala with great eagerness to see the Hera Panchami festival, Kashi Misra received Chaitanya Mahaprabhu with great respect and taking the Lord and his associates to a very nice place. He had them seated. After taking his seat, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to hear about a particular mellow of devotional service. Therefore, mildly smiling, he began to question Sarup Damodar. Although Lord Jagannath enjoys his pastimes at Dwarka Dham and naturally manifests sublime liberty there, still, once a year, he becomes unlimitedly eager to see Vrindavan. Pointing out the neighboring gardens, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, all these gardens exactly resemble Vrindavan. Therefore, Lord Jagannath is very eager to see them again. Externally, he gives the excuse that he wants to participate in the Rath Yatra festival, but actually he wants to leave Jagannath Puri to go to Sundarakala, the Gandhika temple, a replica of Vrindavan. So he's trying to make an excuse to get out of there. He wants to get himself. He feels that devotion that's drawn him back to Vrindavan. The Lord enjoys his pastimes day and night in various flower gardens there. But why does he not take Lakshmi Devi, the goddess of fortune, with him? Sarup Damodar replied, my dear Lord, please hear the reason for this. Lakshmi Devi, the goddess of fortune, cannot be admitted to the pastimes of Vrindavan. In the pastimes of Vrindavan, the only assistants are the gopis. But for the gopis, no one can attract the mind of Krishna. The Lord said, using the card festival as an excuse, Krishna goes there with Subhadra and Baladev. All the pastimes with the gopis take place in those gardens. Are very confidential ecstasies of Lord Krishna. No one knows them. The only reason we know about them is because the people who are actually doing it, the gopis, come here, like Rupa Goswami, and they write books, and they give their realizations. They share that. That's the only way we know about these personal pastimes, because only the gopis know about them. Since there is no fault at all in Krishna's pastimes, why does the goddess of fortune become angry? Swarup Damodar replied, it is the nature of a girl afflicted by love to become immediately angry upon finding any neglect on the part of her lover. While Swarup Damodar and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu were talking, the procession of the goddess Fortune came by. She was riding upon a golden palanquin carried by 4 men and bedecked with a variety of jewels. The palanquin was also surrounded by people carrying umbrellas, chamar whisks, and flags, and it was preceded by musicians and dancing girls. The maidservants were carrying water pitchers, chamar whisks, and boxes of betel nuts. There were hundreds of maidservants, all attractively dressed and wearing valuable necklaces. In an angry mood, the goddess of fortune arrived at the main gate of the temple, accompanied by many members of her family, all of whom exhibited uncommon opulence. When the procession arrived, the maidservants of the goddess Fortune began to arrest all the principal servants of Lord Jagannath. The maidservants bound the servants of Jagannath, handcuffed them, and made them fall down at the lotus feet of the goddess of Fortune. Indeed, they were arrested just like thieves who have all their riches taken away. Purport. When Lord Jagannath starts his car festival, he gives assurance to the goddess of fortune that he will return the next day. When he does not return, the goddess of fortune, after waiting 2 or 3 days, begins to feel that her husband has neglected her. She naturally becomes quite angry. Gorgeously decorating herself and her associates, she comes out of the temple and stands before the main gate. All the principal servants of Lord Jagannath are then arrested by her maidservants, brought before her, and forced to fall down at her lotus feet. When the servants fell down before the lotus feet of the goddess of fortune, they almost fell unconscious. They were chastised and made the butt of jokes and loose language. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's associates saw such impudence exhibited by the maidservants of the goddess of fortune, they covered their faces with their hands and began to smile. Swarup Damodar said, there is no egotistic pride like this within the 3 worlds. At least I have never seen it or heard of it. When a woman is neglected and disappointed out of egotistic pride, she gives up her ornaments and morosely sits down on the ground, marking lines on it with her nails. I have heard of this kind of pride in Satyabhama, Krishna's proudest queen, and I have also heard of it in the gopis of Vrindavan, who are also reservoirs of all transcendental metals. Also, Rukmini, when Krishna was telling her that maybe you should have just, been better if you just married Sisupal. He was kind of joking with her one day, and so similarly, she the same way was getting all emotional and scratching the ground with her nails of her foot. But in the case of the goddess of fortune, I see a different kind of pride. She manifests her own opulence and even goes with her soldiers to attack her husband. Purport. After seeing the impudence of the goddess of fortune, Swarup Damodar Goswami wanted to inform Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu about the super excellence of the gopis' 11 affairs. He therefore said, my Lord, I have never experienced anything like the behavior of the goddess of fortune. We sometimes see a beloved wife become proud of her position and then frustrated due to some neglect. She then gives up caring for her appearance, accepts dirty clothes, and morosely sits on the ground and draws lines with her nails. We have heard of such egotistic pride in Satyabhama and the gopis of Vrindavan. But what we see in the goddess of fortune here at Jagannath Puri is completely different. She becomes very angry with her husband and attacks him with her opulence. Look at what you gave up. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, please tell me of the varieties of egotistic pride manifested in Vrindavan. Swarup Damodar replied, the pride of the gopis is like a river flowing with hundreds of tributaries. The characteristics of the modes of love are different in different women. Their jealous anger also takes on different varieties and qualities. It's even in uniqueness in every aspect of a person's personality. So it's like, even though we have millions and billions of gopis Krishna is engaged in, they're all flavors, different flavors. It is not possible to give a complete statement about the different types of jealous anger manifested by the gopis, but a few principles may serve as an indication. There are 3 types of women experiencing jealous anger: sober women, restless women, and women both restless and sober. When a sober heroine sees her hero approaching from a distance, she immediately stands up to receive him. When he comes near, she immediately offers him a place to sit. A sober heroine conceals her anger within her heart and externally speaks sweet words. When her lover embraces her, she returns his embrace. The sober heroine is very simple in her behavior. She keeps her jealous anger within her heart, but with mild words and smiles, she rejects the advances of her lover. The restless heroine, however, sometimes chastises her lover with cruel words, sometimes pulls his ear, and sometimes binds him with a flower garden. That's pretty mild. Some of them pick up a frying pan or a rolling pin, The heroine who has a combination of sobriety and restlessness always jokes with equivocal words. She sometimes praises her lover, sometimes blasphemes him, and sometimes remains indifferent. Heroines may also be classified as captive, intermediate, and impudent. The captivated heroine does not know very much about the cunning intricacies of jealous anger. So you're learning all this. If you ever get married, you got a little preamble of what you get to deal with with your wife. See, it's Chaitanya Charitamrita is teaching even brahmacharis, Okay, so text 150. The captivated heroine simply covers her face and goes on crying. When she hears sweet words from her lover, she is very satisfied. Both the intermediate and impudent heroines can be classified as sober, restless, and both sober and restless. All their characteristics can be further classified in 3 divisions. Some of these heroines are very talkative, some are mild, and some are equiposed. Each heroine, according to her own character, increases Krishna's loving ecstasy. Although some of the gopis are talkative, some mild, and some equiposed, all of them are transcendental and faultless. They please Krishna by their unique characteristics. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu felt unlimited happiness upon hearing these descriptions, and he again and again requested Swarup Damodar to continue speaking. Same thing was with King Prataparuja when he was meet with Lord Chaitanya and he was chanting verses from the 10th canto. Lord Chaitanya said, keep speaking, and Ramananda Roy kept going, just keep digging the mine and keep bringing out jewels from the mine. Damodar Goswami said, Krishna is the master of all transcendental mellows and the taster of all transcendental mellows, and his body is composed of transcendental bliss. Krishna is full of ecstatic love and always subordinate to the love of his devotees. The gopis are very much experienced in pure love and in the dealings of transcendental mellows. There is no flaw or adulteration in the love of the gopis. Therefore, they give Krishna the highest pleasure. Purport. Rasabhas occurs when one's relationship with Krishna is adulterated. There are different types of rasabhas: first class, second class, and third class. The word rasa means mellow, and abhas means a shadow. If one tastes one kind of mellow and something extra is imposed, that is uparasa. If something is derived from the original mellow, it is called anurasa. If something is appreciated that is far removed from the original mellow, it is called aparasa. Uparasa, anurasa, and aparasa are, respectively, first, second, and third class rasabhasas, as stated in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 4.9, text 1 and 2. Purvam evanusistena vilaka rasa lakshana rasa eva rasa rasabhasha rasa ganur anukirtita siyus tri to parasas chanarasa chaparasa chate utama madhyamam prokta kanista cheta ami ratmat. So you have these different stages. Okay, text 158. Lord Krishna, who is the absolute truth, enjoyed his rasa dance every night during the autumn season. He performed this dance in the moonlight and with full transcendental mellows. He used poetic words and surrounded himself with women who were very much attracted to him. Purport. This verse is a quotation from Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, chapter 33, text 25. The gopis are all transcendental spirit souls. One should never think that the gopis and Krishna have material bodies. Vrindavan Dham is also a spiritual abode, and there the days and nights, the trees, flowers, and water, and everything else are spiritual. There is not even a trace of material contamination. Krishna, who is the supreme Brahman, the supersoul, is not at all interested in anything material. His activities with the gopis are all spiritual and take place within the spiritual world. They have nothing to do with the material world. Lord Krishna's lusty desires and all his dealings with the gopis are on the spiritual platform. One has to be transcendently realized before even considering relishing the pastimes of Krishna with the gopis. One who is on the mundane platform must first purify the following and the regulator principle, must purify himself by following the regulator principles. Only then can he try to understand Krishna and the gopis. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Swarup Damodar Goswami are here talking about the relationship between Krishna and the gopis. Therefore, the subject matter is neither mundane nor erotic. Being a sannyasi, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very strict in his dealings with women. Unless the gopis were on the spiritual platform, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would have never mentioned them to Swarup Damodar Goswami. Therefore, these descriptions do not at all pertain to material activity. This is a very good point, because our frame of reference is just everything we learn in the material world, all our dealings in this material world. How we've been brought up. Those things are changing, and we've come in the association of devotees. That thought process is changing by knowledge, like reading this book. There's this thing called when they like in a computer game, you go and there's an experience that you go into. virtual reality, it is, but there's actually kind of a movement. The people that are these computer scientists, some of these geeks who are that do this gaming, they're starting to realize that maybe this whole world is some type of stimulation. Yeah, stimulation. It's called stimulation theory and a stimulation world. It's kind of like a simulation, not stimulation, simulation, because it's a simulated environment. But understanding that, maybe they're hitting on it, but having to deal with it unless you get the knowledge from a proper source and learn how to detach yourself from it, you're never really going to realize the aspects of that, or where the results, or where that simulation comes from. So it's a type of realization they get when they say, maybe this world is the same way, and we're not really who we think we are. But then they see it in an impersonal way, or a Mayavadi way. They don't see that there's a source to it. Similarly, if there's a Big Bang, there has to be somebody who creates the Big Bang. And if there's a simulation, then there has to be somebody who creates a simulation, who created the environment. Because in the computer, it's all programmed by somebody that's programmed this environment. And of course, then they also get into quantum mechanics. This whole theory of quantum entanglement. That's another whole scientific thing. But that two actions can happen at the same time. Whenever you perform an action, there's a similar action happening somewhere else. Quantum entanglement. So, but scientists, they're atheists. They don't want to associate any of this. Once they remove God out of it, even though they see all these things, they don't believe there's a consciousness or a soul that's separate from this body. So there's a huge stumbling block, which is like this Bhagavad Gita. The beginning of Bhagavad Gita, that understanding is right there. And so actually that simulation game is just another analogy. Like you're not this body. It's like changing clothes, or you're not the car, you're driver. It's just another analogy that you can actually use in preaching to kids who are gamers. That's the same type of. So it's a way to open the door and talking to them. The problem with scientists is that they're atheists. Not all scientists are atheists, but the ones who are. It's a huge stumbling block on their understanding. It actually almost wipes out everything they understand, because once they die, all that knowledge is gone. How they, understand it. And we talk about, and it's all it's all math. They understand there's a fourth dimension mathematically. They don't understand what it is, but through math, they understand it's real. But they don't have no understanding. We know that the fourth dimension is the Vaikuntha, that Krishna exists. In the Adi Lila, this is completely detailed out, this fourth dimension. Okay, let's continue on. 159. Anybody got any comments about anything? The gopis can be divided into left wing and right wing. Both wings induce Krishna to taste transcendental metals by various manifestations of ecstatic love. Of all the gopis, Srimati Radharani is the chief. She is a jewel mine of ecstatic love, the source of all purified transcendental conjugal metals. Radharani is grown up, and her character is equiposed. She is always deeply absorbed in ecstatic love, and always feeling in the mood of a left wing gopi. Purport. The left wing and right wing of the gopis have been explained by Rupa Goswami in his Ujjvala Nilamani. Shaki Prakarana 26 and 32. The left wing is described in this way. Managrahe sado yukta tak chachiye cha gopana. Abheya nayake prayaha kura vameti kuryate. A gopi who is always eager to be jealously angered who is very enthusiastic for that position, who immediately becomes angry when defeated, who is never under the control of a hero, and who always opposes him, is called Vama, or left-wing gopi. Srila Rupa Goswami describes the right-wing gopis in this way. Ashyamana nirbandhe nayake yukta vadini samabhistena beyacha dakshina pari kirtita. A gopi who cannot tolerate womanly anger, who speaks suitable words to the hero, and who is satisfied by his sweet words is called a dakshina, or a right-wing gopi. I mean, we're who knows what our swarup is going to be. It takes time to really develop that understanding. You have to really be purified, and then it takes a qualified person to reveal it. Someone, probably a Rasika devotee, to reveal it. But we have this surrender to Krishna, and we want to have a relationship with Krishna. And Bhaktivinoda tells you, if you're a gopi, and you finally get there, and then Krishna approaches you, you reject him. After lifetimes of trying to develop a relationship, the first thing, if you're a left-wing gopi, then you reject Krishna if he makes any kind of approaches. It's just like, so Krishna, to different gopis, Krishna relishes different moods, as we've already been discussing. 162. Because she is a left-wing gopi, her womanly anger is always awakening, but Krishna derives transcendental bliss from her activities. The progress of loving affairs between a young boy and a young girl is by nature crooked, like the movement of a snake. Because of this, two types of anger arise between a young boy and a girl: anger with a cause and anger without a cause. This is a quotation from Srila Rupa Goswami's Ujjvala Niyamani, Sringara Beda, Prakarana 102. Text 164. As Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu heard these talks, his ocean of transcendental bliss increased. He therefore told Swarup Damodar, go on speaking. And thus Swarup Damodar continued. Srimati Radharani's love is a highly advanced ecstasy. All her dealings are completely pure and devoid of material tinge. Indeed, her dealings are 10 times purer than gold. As soon as Radharani gets a chance to see Krishna, her body is suddenly decorated with various ecstatic ornaments. Some of these ornaments are her mood, The transcendental ornaments of Srimati Radharani's body includes 8 sattvikas, or transcendental symptoms, and 33 vyabhichari bhavas, beginning with harsa, or jubilation, and natural love, and the 20 bhavas, or ecstatic emotional ornaments. Purport. Boy, the acharyas have categorized everything. The 33 vyabhichari bhavas, bodily symptoms manifest in ecstatic love, are as follows: nirveda, indifference; visada, moroseness; dayana, meekness; glani, a feeling that one is in a faulty position; shrama, fatigue; mada, madness; grava, pride; sankha, doubt; trasa, shock; avega, intense emotion; umada, craziness; pasmara, forgetfulness; vyadi, disease; moha, bewilderment; mriti, death; alasya, laziness; jadya, invalidity; and vrida, shame; avadhita, concealment; shmiti, remembrance; vitarka, argument; chinta, contemplation; mati, attention; driti, forbearance, harsha, jubilation, autsuka, eagerness, agraha, violence, amarsha, anger, asuya, jealousy, shapaya, impudence, nidra, sleep, supti, deep sleep, and prabodha, awakening. Text 168. Some of the symptoms critically explained in the following verses are kala kinchita, kukta mitra, vilasa, lalita, vivoka, motavita, malgadya, and chakita. When Srimati Radharani's body manifests the ornaments of many ecstatic symptoms, the ocean of Krishna's happiness immediately displays transcendental waves. Now here a description of different ecstasies, beginning with Kila Kinchita. With these ecstatic ornaments, Srimati Radharani enhances the mind of Krishna. When Sri Krishna sees Srimati Radharani and wants to touch her body, he prohibits her from going to the spot where one can cross the river Yamuna. Approaching her, Krishna prohibits Srimati Radharani from picking flowers. He may also touch her in front of her friends. At such times, the ecstatic symptoms of Kala Kinchita are awakened. First, there is jubilation and ecstatic love, which is the root cause of these symptoms. Purport. Whenever Srimati Radharani leaves her house, she is always well dressed and attractive. It is her womanly nature to attract Krishna's attention. And upon seeing her so attractively dressed, Krishna desires to touch her body. The Lord then finds some fault in her and prohibits her from going to a river crossing and stops her from picking flowers. Such are the pastimes between Srimati Radharani and Sri Krishna. Being a cowherd girl, Srimati Radharani regularly carries milk in a container and often goes to sell the milk on the other side of the Yamuna. To cross the river, she has to pay the boatman. And on the spot where the boatman collects his fares is called Dhanagati. The Lord, Sri Krishna, stops her from going, telling her, first, you have to pay the fee. Then you will be allowed to go. This pastime is called Dana Kali Leela. Similarly, if Srimati Radharani wants to pick a flower, Sri Krishna claims to be the gardener's proprietor and prohibits her. This pastime is called Kila Kinchita. Radharani's shyness arises due to Sri Krishna's prohibitions and ecstatic, loving bodily symptoms called Kila Kincha Bhava are all manifest at this time. These ecstatic symptoms are explained in the following verse, which is from Srila Rupa Goswami's Ujjvala Nidamani, Anubhava Prakarana 39, text 174. Pride, ambition, weeping, smiling, envy, fear, and anger are the 7 ecstatic loving symptoms manifested by a jubilant shrinking away. These are symptoms called Kila Kinchita Bhava. Okay, Jai. All glories to Srila Prabhupada for giving us such nectar.
Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Menam
Pandarangan Tandar ako di kamania Isesa soba
Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami
Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Angani Asa Sakale Priya Priti Manti Vasyanti Panti Kayanti Chiram Naganti Ananda Chinmaya Sadhu Jala Vigrahasya Govindam
Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami
Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami
Going down. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Samenitina Vinay Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Vajjanani Visesha Shunyavani Paschachari Zatarane Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadada Sivasati Gaurabhakta Vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadada Sivasati Gaurabhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadada Sivasati Gorvaturinda. Nayatre Krishna Jena Ramanityananda Chidwaita Anada Siva Sade Gorvaturinda. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Ram, Ram Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Goloka Nana Goloka Nana Ragate. Jaya Radha Goloka Nana Goloka Nana Ragate. Now Radhe, 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 Radhe. Jaya Radhe, Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe. Hey, Jai Om Vishnupad.
Taranam Vijayavanam Ananduri Varnam Prativanam Brahmritaswanam Saratmasnavanam Paramidaye Krishna Sankirtanam Nam Namakari Bhavdani Jasarva Shaktis Tatrapitani Amita Smaranena Kala Etadrishita Vakripa Bhagavan Mamapi Dordaiva Midrishame Hajani Nanuraga Trinadapi Sunichena Tarorapi Suhishuna Amani Namanadena Kirtaniya Sadahari Nadanam Najanam Nasundarim Kavitam Va Jagadisha Kamaye Mama Janmani Janmani Ishvare Bhavatad Bhaktir Hoitaki Twai Ainanda Tanuja Kinkaram Patitamam Vishame Bhavam Budao Kripayata Vabada Pankaja Stita Duli Sadrushim Vachintaya Nayanam Galashu Daraya Varanam Gadgaduradaya Gira Pulakarnishitam Vapukada Tavanama Grahaneva Vishyati Yugayatam Namishena Chakshusha Bravashayatam Shunayatam Jagat Sarvam Govindam Virahename Ashlishyavapadamritam panastumam adarshanam marmahata karotuva yatatata vidadatulam patomat prananatastusaiva napara. Victory to the Sri Krishna Sankirtan, which cleanses the heart of all the dust accumulated for years and extinguishes the fire of conditional life, of repeated birth and death. This Sankirtan movement is a prime benediction for humanity at large because it spreads the rays of the benediction moon. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases the ocean of transcendental bliss, and it enables us to fully taste the nectar for which we are always anxious. O my Lord, congregational chanting of your holy name alone can render all benediction to living beings, and thus you have hundreds and millions of names like Krishna and Govinda. In these transcendental names you've invested all your transcendental energies. There are not even hard and fast rules for chanting these names. O my Lord, out of kindness you enable us to easily approach you by your holy names, but I am so unfortunate that I have no attraction for them. One should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the straw on the street. One should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and should be ready to offer all respect to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. O Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor do I desire beautiful women, nor do I want any number of followers. I only want your causeless devotional service birth after birth. O Son of Maharaj Nanda Krishna, I am your eternal servitor, yet somehow or other I have all birth and death. Please pick me up from this ocean of death and place me as one of the atoms at your lotus feet. Oh, my Lord, when will my eyes be decorated with tears of love flowing constantly when I chant your holy name? When will my voice choke up, and when will the hairs of my body stand on end at the recitation of your name? Oh, Govinda, feeling your separation, I am considering a moment to be like 12 years or more. Tears are flowing from my eyes like torrents of rain, and I am feeling all vacant in the world in your absence. I know no one but Krishna as my Lord, and he shall remain so even if he handles me roughly by his embrace or makes me brokenhearted by not being present before me. He is completely free, for he is always my worshipful Lord unconditionally. Shri Shastastika Ki Jai.